And so the goal for me, I think at this age, number one, is to combat aging as much as possible, even though aging is a gift.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Intense Show podcast. Today we have a very special guest with us. Her name is Robin, and she has been a very ardent supporter of the Intense Oud perfume business since long. She's a customer experience manager and a perfume lover slash content creator of sorts. So join me in welcoming her. Roll the intro.
I had put on these,
Mhm.
I was getting ready and I was like not liking the length of my hair. And finally I was like, all right, I need to put on some long earrings. That's it. And it
Yeah.
finally like set it off because and this
Mhm.
is just kind of bedhead from
Yeah.
because I let it go curly and whatever. Cause yesterday they gave me like the Dora and I'm like,
Mhm.
and I'm like, as cool as this guy is, right? That
Yeah.
downtown, I'm like, why'd you give me the Dora? Walking out with the Dora. I
Yeah.
should have been straighter or whatever, or
Yeah.
curly, right? Or
Yeah.
wavy, whatever. So
Mhm.
I woke up this morning and I'm like, okay, it's a little wavier, it's a little funkier, it's a little jazzier, whatever. But then when I
Yeah.
was walking out, I was like, I really think I need to put some earrings on. And I was like, luckily I walk because my nephew lives with us and
Right.
he like steals everything all the time. And so I like walked out, or I luckily looked in my drawer and I'm like, there's some that come below my hair.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so much interesting, like all these accessories and the hair and the makeup. Like, I feel lucky that I'm a woman because there's so much that I can play around with myself.
It's fun.
Boys are like just, the max they can do is like, set their hair or maybe like put on some watch or something.
Yeah, right.
But
Anything.
yeah, I love being a woman like that.
Me too, because you can do anything anytime,
Yeah.
ever. If
Yeah.
you want to change up your hair, if you want to change up your makeup, I mean, it's not hard to do one day just to
Mhm.
do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I have to
Exactly.
agree with you there.
Yeah.
It's
And
not just about the fragrances at that point, right?
exactly. It's like fragrances are an add-on, but like it's so many
The
other
final
things.
touch.
The final touch.
I
Yeah.
totally agree.
So Robin, what's
Mm.
what's new these days? Like
Oh my
it's been a
gosh.
while
It has
since
been a
I saw you
while.
at
Couple
Intense
months
Mood.
at least, right? 3 or
Yeah.
4 months.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I have been I finally am working a consultant job.
Okay.
And I am working in events
Mm-hmm.
for a pretty large company that has a customer innovation center.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
managing everything that happens in the customer innovation center. So it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. I
Right.
get to meet lots of different new people every day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely sounds a lot of work. Maybe that's why we haven't been seeing you
that is
around because,
exactly why you haven't seen me, because
yeah,
I've been trying to take it easy on the weekends.
yeah, definitely. So, like, how have you been recharging yourself after like a hectic week at work? And I mean, like, what are you usually doing in your me time?
I try to, on the weekends, I have my 4.5-year-old nephew who
Oh,
I think,
okay.
has a little bit of autism or something like that. And so, I try to spend, I have to spend time with him, but
Mm-hmm.
also my daughter has been coming to our house. She's 19. And so
Right.
she's been coming to our house, spending a lot more time with us because he's living there with us right now.
Right.
And so it's been helpful, but it's also been really nice just to have the two of them around, be loved on a little bit while
Oh,
I'm,
yeah.
trying to recharge at home. And it's helpful because if I'm laying down or I'm, just
Mm-hmm.
tired, one of them will get it and be like, do you want me to bring you something? Do you want me to, are you
Oh.
hungry? Are you thirsty? And it's really nice. So,
Yeah, that's so sweet of them.
mm,
Like, it's usually like kids see their parents or like elders in the family taking care of
mhm.
themselves and then they grow up to be these caring people. So that's like so sweet of them
Luckily,
actually.
I have got that because,
Hmm.
sometimes they do and sometimes they don't,
Yeah.
and in our society here, sometimes people are just like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah.
See you later. And I'm lucky enough to have, a family, my child and some, another child, right, who
Hmm.
just really care. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty fortunate in that arena.
That's so good.
Thank you.
So I was just wondering, like, we've met quite a few times, and
Hmm.
like I know how much of a big perfume lover you are,
Yeah.
and like I am just so curious whenever I meet people because before working here, I was not into like I was into perfumes, but not that much into
Hmm.
perfumes. And then after working here, I realized that there's so much more to just something that smells nice. There's
Hmm.
like, lots of science behind perfumery as well. Like,
Sure.
the notes, the longevity, the heat areas where you should put it on, stuff
Mhm.
like that. And this is something that I'm curious about, and I ask everyone. So, what made you a perfume enthusiast? Have you
Mm.
always been into fragrances, or like there
Yes.
was some sort of like, you just started a few years back, or what?
No, I have always been, and I'll tell you a couple of things. So,
Hmm.
um, I just for some reason always liked it. Like I even liked the bathroom spray, right? And I
Oh,
would spray it
okay.
around the house and things like
Hmm.
that. And when I was a kid, remember the Glade, the Glade plugins
Yeah,
you buy
yeah,
at the
yeah.
store, they're still there, right?
Yeah.
And now everyone has them, right? Bath and
Yeah.
Body Works, everyone else. The first one that came out was this Hawaiian something or other
Okay.
and a Glade plugin. And I got that and I plugged it in my room and that was like the best thing in the world that I can
Oh.
smell this all the time. And I think that is the moment that I was like, that's it. I'm a frag head, no matter
Mm-hmm.
what it is, if it's my house, if it's me, if it's whatever. And then I
Right.
had my first boyfriend bought me a bottle of Obsession.
Oh, okay.
And after that, then he bought me a bottle of Poison. And then,
Okay.
bought me a bottle of, I think it was Eternity for Her or something like, you know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it was just from there, I
Hmm.
just developed it. And then
Right.
I worked, in retail for a couple of years and
Okay.
I knew which fragrances I didn't like from working at one particular retail outlet.
Oh, okay.
But then I went to another retail outlet where they had the really nice beauty counters and things like that.
Right,
And I
right.
was invited to work for Lancome.
Oh, okay.
And so I went to work for Lancome.
Wow, I didn't know that about you.
Yes, I did. I worked
Yeah,
for Lancome. And
right.
I think there not only did I hone my skills with the makeup artistry we've talked
Mm-hmm.
about before, but also with the fragrance just blew
Right.
up and exploded. And I remember it wasn't Lancome at first
Mm-hmm.
that I really got into and purchased. It was actually Sunflowers from Elizabeth
Oh.
Arden.
Oh,
I
okay.
was, but my Lancome bay was next to the fragrance bay.
Right.
So I got to smell all of them. And I remember back then it was like a real big one was Kashmir by Chopard, which is that real heavier vanilla.
Right, right.
And then and then Tresor came out while I was
Mm-hmm.
working there. And so I got into Tresor and then Pleasures came out
Right.
for and Estee Lauder and I got into that. So then it was just
Mm-hmm.
snowballed from there.
Yeah, there was like no stopping from
No,
there.
not at all. In fact, I remember moving down here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was I won't say when it was, but it was in the 90s.
Oh,
And it
okay.
was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I went to Neiman Marcus and I found
Okay.
an Escada fragrance that I really liked. And then that
Oh.
was a gift. And then that was
Mm-hmm.
it. Once
Right.
I had that Escada, which maybe a lot of people don't know, but Escada used to be a really high
Mm-hmm.
end designer before
Right.
the the designer passed away and it was sold and whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
They weren't just a fruity fragrance maker; they were actually a real fragrance
Real
maker, right?
fragrance maker. Yeah.
And perfumier or whatever you call them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that just when I got that first one from Neiman's, I was like, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these fragrance houses, this obviously they're like from here or like,
Mm-hmm.
they sound like very occidental. So like
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, how did you end up coming across getting
Mm-hmm.
introduced to Arabian fragrances? Like how
Mm-hmm.
has that journey been like?
Mm-hmm. So when I have a girlfriend and she was going back home to Pakistan.
Oh, okay.
And I said, ooh, do you have like the big fragrance houses and things there?
Hmm.
And she's like, I don't know. I'm going to be in a different area. And I was like,
Right.
let me know.
Okay.
And she brought me back this a little dram of oil. I don't
Okay.
really,
The perfume one.
yeah, perfume oil. And it
Yeah.
wasn't oud or anything like that. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
And it smelled really good. And I'm like, wow, this smells really good, And so
Hmm.
then I think like it was before the sort of where everyone it became very popular here. The
Right.
Arab fragrances became very popular here.
Right.
I had friends in between this time, like my mom had some students that she was like looking after and things like that from different
Oh,
Egypt and
okay.
Pakistan and all
Hmm.
different places, Saudi Arabia, whatever.
Right.
And I was like, they were into a lot of our fragrances, but I
Hmm.
was like, I want to be into your
Your
fragrances.
fragrance. Right.
So who I call my Egyptian sister, Huwaida,
Hmm.
obviously is from Egypt.
Hmm.
She, I thought always smelled good. And
Yeah.
a lot of hers were Arab fragrances, number one.
Right.
And then it just got me curious.
Hmm.
So the first thing that I did was the first thing I could find
Mm.
before there was a big wave of Arab fragrances
Right,
here was I found some bathroom spray, and I think it's from like Latafa or one of
Okay.
them has like bathroom spray
Right,
line or
right.
something,
Yeah.
and it smelled so good. Like I was like, I want to wear this on my body. So I
Oh,
really started to do a lot of research, and that's how I found Intense Oud.
oh, okay. So
So I
interesting.
actually had purchased, I think, Dalel from you guys
Mm-hmm.
here
Right.
before I even got into anything else, anywhere else, like
Right.
Amazon or, you
Mhm.
know, any of the other houses purchasing from.
Right.
I had purchased from you.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And
Yeah.
to realize that, I mean, Intensu has been here in business for like 5+ years, but to
Mhm.
think that you had exposure to Middle Eastern and like Pakistani fragrances long
Mhm.
before that.
Yep.
And you're right. Like, I think there has been a wave of Arabian fragrances. Like, people are just discovering it.
Mhm.
But I feel like, how do you feel about there's this conversation that we often see on our
Mhm.
you know, socials and all, that some people are like, oh my god, gatekeep this, I don't want everyone to be smelling like
Yeah.
me. So how do you feel about gatekeeping, and especially gatekeeping Middle Eastern and
Mhm.
Pakistani fragrances?
So I understand why,
Mm-hmm.
because there are things. I'm not a gatekeeper.
Right.
Okay. I share everything, but I understand culturally
Yeah.
why someone might want to gatekeep something and keep it a beautiful part of their culture.
Right.
Because, you know, even with like, you know, I don't want to get too political, but as an
Mhm.
example, gentrification, right? Of the
Right.
areas in cities like we
Yeah.
live in Chicago,
Mhm.
you know, the gentrification tends to ruin that culture.
Yeah.
And so there has to be a balance, right? Of where you just say, okay, maybe I don't know how you say enough is enough, but how
Yeah.
people still respect
Yeah.
that that's part of your culture.
Yeah. Like, not
Does that
try
make
to
sense?
yeah, not try to like completely change it
Or
into
duplicate it.
yeah, duplicate it,
Let
like
the Arab fragrances still be Arab fragrances.
yeah.
Let
And you
them
can appreciate as a
yes.
non-Arab, or like
Totally agree.
as a Western person, or as an
Sure.
American, I guess.
Because I think the Arabs I know, quite
Mhm.
frankly, wear a lot of the designer fragrances we wear, right?
Yeah.
But so, you know, having an appreciation for the culture, I think is where it comes in.
Right.
Really.
That's such an interesting thought. And like
Mhm.
sometimes I do debate this myself, like whether we should be gatekeeping these Arabian
Mhm.
fragrances, or we should be like, but you're right, like as long as people have the appreciation with respect,
Yeah.
and like not ruin the cultural aspects of it.
Yep.
I feel like that's a healthy balance between, like, you know, liking something, appreciating it, and like, you know,
Like work
completely
with it, not
yeah,
against it.
yeah,
Yeah, totally agree.
exactly.
Mhm.
That's so good. I also remember one more thing, and
Mhm.
I wanted to touch up upon this
Okay.
in our podcast. So I remember at the perfume swap party we had like a few months ago, and we had you over. I don't know how it went, like what the conversation in the room was
Okay.
going on, but we were talking about dating. And
Yes.
I'm like, okay, dating and fragrances.
Mm.
I've been on a few first dates, and fragrances are such like those are the things that you notice the first. It's like the fragrance, the way a guy presents himself, the way he treats you on the first date.
Yep.
So like, what suggestions do you have for people who are into dating, and what fragrance suggestions you would give to them?
Okay, so number one, don't wear Sauvage.
Oh my god.
Sorry, Dior.
What?
No, but really, it's a fine fragrance. It's just overworn at this point.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of guys think it's their pimp juice or something. I don't, whatever you call it these days.
Yeah.
But no, really. I personally don't like to date men that don't wear fragrances just because it's my thing.
Yeah, definitely. He
and
has to smell good.
yeah, right. He has to smell good. And if he can't, like for some reason, if he's allergic or something like that, I can understand. But like if there's no excuse other than I'm just being lazy or something, I'll buy it for him, to be
Yeah.
honest. And if
Yeah.
they don't wear it, I get a little annoyed.
Yeah.
Because I think that's always putting your best foot forward. And I'm not saying they have to bathe in it. Like I'm an oversprayer probably, but like just wear something so I can smell it and so I can
Yeah.
think about, because it's sexy to me, right?
Yeah.
Like
You
I don't know
want
what
to be
else to
in the
say.
scent bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sexy. And I don't think people realize how sexy things like that are. And like,
Mhm.
there's certain things that, if your partner thinks that something like that's really sexy, in
Mhm.
my opinion, you should do it.
Yeah, like
Right? Period. Like there's
uh,
no
mhm.
like no option to me if it's not something that's really gonna make you sick or
Yeah.
something like I don't that probably sounded really bad, but like, if someone likes a certain kind of shoes
Yeah.
and I had every means to wear those shoes, I would do that.
You would do that. It's
Right?
like a part of making an effort
It's making
in
an effort. If I do
yeah.
all this makeup and do all these clothes and do it, it's not a
Yeah.
two sprays is not hard. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, that's the bare minimum, I guess.
I
That's
think
what
so. You're like,
that's
come
what they
on,
call.
man. Right? You're already in a
Yeah.
t-shirt and jeans.
Yeah.
Like, I think you can put on a little clothes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And what are some of the fragrances that you, or maybe like, what's the kind of scent DNA you would
Mm-hmm.
pick if you're maybe going out on a first date or
Mm-hmm.
something? You haven't met,
Myself?
yeah,
Okay.
you haven't met this person. This is
Mm-hmm.
the first impression you're making. So,
Interesting. So they always, when you read the magazines and
mhm,
stuff, they always say that, men like vanilla. But I
right,
think that sometimes you can go overboard on
right.
the cloyingly sweet
Mm-hmm,
vanilla.
mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure that gourmand vanilla is necessarily the way to go
On the first date.
on a first date. I think you need to vanilla, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's a vanilla bourbon. Maybe it's a vanilla, with a powder, like a powdery vanilla. Maybe
Right,
it's, it just has a vanilla in the DNA, but it's not quite, a literal
right, right.
sweet
Mm-hmm.
sugar cookie vanilla type of
Yeah,
thing, right?
yeah.
I probably would go that direction.
Mm-hmm.
Although I do have some fragrances that I would not wear. Like I wouldn't wear vanilla if it was 90 degrees outside, right?
Right, of course.
So, I think that there are some safe,
Mhm.
like I have what's the Bright Crystal Absolute as an example, which
Right,
a lot of women tend to like for their daytime, but I notice a lot of men really like to do that too, like that
right,
too. One
right.
thing I don't like in the DNA personally is the watery
The aquatic,
aquatic
right.
scent is not for
For
me.
yourself or like
For
for the,
myself, because it
right.
reminds me, like I wouldn't wear it on a first date or something,
Mm-hmm.
because it reminds me of a little masculine. Number one, number two,
Mm-hmm.
it reminds me of like bathroom
Oh,
spray,
right.
and that's probably from my experience as
Yeah,
a child in our house, right?
right.
But they don't do it for me. I will say though that like for men,
Hmm.
um, if I were to pick a classic
Mm-hmm.
that I think is a safe bet for every man, it's been around forever.
Right.
And I think most women like it and still don't even know they like it,
Mm.
is Acqua di Gio. I
Right.
have to say that I
Mm-hmm.
think that is one of the most classic fragrances. And that has a little aquatic, obviously it's
Yeah,
aqua, right?
yeah.
But I mean, other than that, like I don't
Um,
really care about the DNA of the fragrance for the man as long as it smells good.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's so interesting. Also, I saw this conversation on a fragrance group the
Mm-hmm.
other day, and I was like, it resonated with me. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
about you. So there was this he's a perfume enthusiast as well. His name is Tim. He is in Wisconsin, and he has
Oh,
been here
funny.
at
Okay.
Intense Sooth as well. And he initiated this conversation on Fragrance Junkies, I think, a Facebook group.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he said that guys save the vanilla fragrances for future dates, first dates
So
for
they
men.
actually don't like them.
Yeah,
What do
like
they like? Floral?
I mean, no, he meant like for men. He was suggesting it to
Oh,
other men that women would not necessarily like you wearing a vanilla fragrance.
because it reminds them of themselves.
Yeah, and then I guess like vanilla gets too cheesy on a man on a first date. So
I'll
it's
agree with
like,
that.
yeah, he recommended something fresh and aquatic, kind of like Acqua di Gio and
Mm,
something fresh, maybe citrus, and then save the vanillas for later, like
yeah.
future dates. So would you like that on a man? Like maybe if the guy is wearing a citrus or maybe a fresh aquatic scent on the first date, and then
Mm,
down the line, do you think vanilla scents are to be saved for like a fourth or fifth date kind of thing?
that's interesting. I think there's going to be a little bit of an age group factor here, and
Right.
I'm going to age myself a little bit, but that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Um, I think and maybe there's a little bit of a cultural factor here too. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. But I like those softer,
Right.
really sexy fragrances on a man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really go for the aquatic ones as much. So
Oh,
like
okay.
if it were like, what's the gosh, I can't think of it now, but there's a real aquatic one and it's been popular for years and I don't really go for it at all.
Right.
Um,
Is it
but I
the
think it's younger. It's the one Snoop Dogg
uh
was.
is that the Invictus Aqua?
No,
Or
it's like from the 90s.
oh, okay.
I
I
can't think of it off the
probably
top of my head. But
yeah.
anyways, there's one that's big and it's like everyone seems to like it and all this kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff, whatever. And I've never liked it. Sorry, Snoop Dogg. But anyway, so I just that's not my thing. But if
Right.
something's woodsy to me,
Right, right.
I think that's a little more sexy. But again, I think that's because I'm a little older.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like if it were the citrusy thing and I were younger, I'd probably go for it because frankly, my boyfriend that I was with for a couple of years back in the day, he wore CK1 and I loved it. And it's
Right,
citrusy and bergamoty and amazing,
right.
right? So,
Uh-huh.
you know, I
Yeah,
would say probably it's a little bit of an age
yeah.
related too, but that's okay. You know what I
Yeah, that's
mean?
okay, I
I think
guess.
we all change as we get older and the fragrances we like definitely
Yeah.
change.
Even like throughout the seasons, like during 1 year, even like my scent profile has changed so much. Like
Yes,
I like more gourmands for fall and winter
exactly.
time. I like more fruity, fresh florals in summertime. And then like lately I've been into scents with pink pepper
I
or
love pink pepper. Yeah, they're
yeah.
beautiful.
So
And you know, I think there's something to be said for that, but also I think that I think we do I think everyone tries to do unless it's like a signature scent, right? Or whatever.
yeah.
I think people definitely try to change their scents for the seasons, but like I'm thinking of like, we've talked about Arabian's Tonka in the past,
Yeah.
Montal
Yeah.
as an example. And I can't imagine having worn that when I was like 25 or 22 or something like
Yeah.
that. That would have been too much
Yeah.
then.
Definitely.
Because I talked about wearing sunflowers for gosh
Yeah.
in CK1. So,
Yeah.
but now at 50,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm like, oh, I like Arabian's Tonka. And I don't care if it's on me
Yeah.
or him. It's beautiful. So,
Yeah.
as an example,
And I think like it's also because your environments are also changing
sure.
because when you're like a younger person, you're probably going out more with your friends, you're like going to clubs and
I was
partying
just gonna
and
say the
stuff.
clubby scents like Juicy Couture and all that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This
Yeah.
fruity and cute and flirty and whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that definitely changes a little bit. I
Yeah.
think depending upon where you are in
Yeah.
life, for sure. For sure.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
think so too.
That's such an interesting topic to touch down on, like, sense changing through personalities and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. There's this one really interesting conversation we had with another one of the podcasts that we
Mm-hmm.
were recording.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of wanted to know from you as well that so some people wear scents according to their moods,
Mm-hmm.
but then we had a guest over, and she told us that she wears a scent to get into a certain mood.
Oh, interesting.
So, have you been like that, or
No,
like
I am moody when it
okay,
comes to my scents, my
right?
fragrances, for sure. And I definitely, it depends what I'm going to be doing that day. It depends how I'm feeling. It
Mm-hmm.
depends on multiple factors. I'll
Right?
sometimes go through 3 or 4 bottles. Nah, I'm not wearing that today. Nope, definitely not today.
Yeah.
So I'm moody.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it doesn't
Yeah.
get me into a mood. It would not, it would
Yeah.
probably make me more
Yeah. You
irritated.
wear a scent. Yeah, you
It would
pick a
probably irritate
scent.
me a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I definitely wear them to for how I wake up that day.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. That's
Mhm.
so interesting. And Robin, one more question that I had for you.
Mhm.
So I know this is a very subjective thing.
Mhm.
Everyone has their own concepts about it. Everyone's struggling, and it's an evolving thing.
Mhm.
But what is your definition of beauty?
Mm.
Like, what is the first thing that comes to your mind, or like, how would you define beauty
Mhm.
if you were asked about something that's
Sure.
beautiful for you?
Well, this has definitely changed, morphed, and whatever over the years because when I was in my 20s, I would say beauty was definitely external, right?
Right.
And trying to be what, a man or somebody that I
Mm-hmm.
find that I wanted to be with or found attractive, or whatever, would think was attractive for me.
Right.
And you may or may not know this, I'm not sure if we've discussed this, but I have an autoimmune disease that I
Oh.
actually struggle quite a bit with.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. And I will tell you that now at this age, kind of coming out of the end of what has shaped a large portion of my life,
Right.
um, and being on this path of feeling better
Right.
because I know what to do now,
Mm-hmm.
is beauty is definitely um, not what somebody else wants you to be.
Right.
It's number one, what I want to be.
Yeah.
But also, I think health
Right.
is
Right.
beauty,
Health is
right?
beauty. Yeah.
Because you
Definitely.
can see on someone's just skin. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even as an esthetician, having gone to aesthetic school, right?
Yeah.
Um, you can see on someone's skin, on someone's nails, on someone, whatever, you can see their health,
Yeah.
right? And so the goal for me, I think at this age, number one, is to combat aging as much as possible, even though aging is a gift.
Yeah.
I will
It's a
say that
part of the
aging is a
human
gift.
experience. Yeah.
It's not something that I personally just someone like, oh, great, give me some wrinkles. I mean, some people like that. They're like, yes,
Yeah.
give me the wisdom, give me whatever.
Yeah.
But I say that to say that for me, the health and looking healthy and
Yeah.
seeming healthy is much more beautiful to me, I would say, at this juncture than anything else.
Right, right.
Mhm.
And thank you so much for
Sure.
sharing. I mean, I honestly did not know about that. And it's quite brave about people coming out about their things that they struggled with.
That's right.
And this is just so profound that health is indeed beauty because um unless you're not okay on the inside, it
That's
kind
right.
of shows on the outside,
It
right?
does. Like, I mean, when I was younger, I struggled with bulimia
Mm-hmm.
and for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, sure, I was thinner, but I was never skinny
Yeah.
because you're still doing things that, taking in a lot of calories and whatever.
Yeah.
But you're more of like a fit type looking person.
Right.
And I was never going to be really thin and healthy looking doing that for many, many reasons.
Right.
And I think a lot of women struggle with those kind of identity
Mm-hmm.
issues, right? And body,
Yeah.
what is dysmorphia? What is
Body dysmorphia.
dysphoria? Whatever,
Yeah.
dysmorphia. And I just, it's, now being my age and having gone through so much,
Right.
and seeing younger women go through the same thing, it makes it makes me a little sad, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I'm looking at this new generation and
Right.
I'm going, they don't care anymore.
That's so true.
And
Like,
I think that is a beautiful thing
mm-hmm.
where they're like, so what if I'm thin? So what
Yeah.
if I'm heavy? So what
Yeah.
if I'm this or that? So what if I'm blonde? So what if I'm dark haired? So what if I'm whatever?
Yeah.
I'm me and I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
Yeah.
And that is such a beautiful, empowering thing
Yeah.
that I wish had been,
when we were younger. Yeah. That's so true. Like,
mhm.
I am not Gen Z per se, but
Yep.
when I see the fearlessness of Gen Z and
Mhm.
especially like their I mean, I personally feel like Gen Z does not have as much issues with body positivity as
don't.
us millennials had, but like it's very interesting and very profound to see them. And I mean, sometimes I do wish, and it's so interesting that you mentioned bulimia because I also kind of like struggled with sort of eating disorders. Like
Mhm.
sometimes when I'm stressed, I binge eat. Sometimes when
Mhm.
I am stressed, I stop eating.
Mhm.
And one part, like a part of me feels very guilty about the binge eating. So I
Mm.
spend like longer hours in the gym killing
Mhm.
myself,
Mhm.
which is also again not healthy
Not
because
healthy. Yep.
you got to respect your
Mhm.
body and progress gradually.
Yep.
And I also didn't know about bulimia. And it's like, I mean, I was watching The Crown,
Mhm.
the Netflix show about the
Yep.
British royal family.
Yeah.
And I think it was season 5 or the last season where they showed Princess Diana's life. And like, to think that someone so externally beautiful and the
Mhm.
most photographed women of the world, and she also struggled with some eating
But that's why.
disorders. That's why,
The more
exactly, right?
pressure you have on you to be a certain way,
Yeah,
the more you'll be that way. I mean,
yeah.
you'll do things to be that way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's still, I take medications to
Mm-hmm.
be well now,
Yeah,
right? And some of them, they all caused
yeah,
weight gain, as an
yeah,
example. So, what I would have looked like at 22 is not what I look like now.
yeah,
Okay. But at the same time, I'm okay with that. I'm
yeah,
okay with me because you know what? I know that I'm healthier now than I
yeah,
was then.
yeah, definitely.
So,
That's such a good takeaway, I guess. Like,
mhm.
I hope our audience really likes this sort of lesson or messaging
I
that
hope so too. I hope so too.
yeah,
Because we're all human, I mean,
yeah,
regardless of the fact that we're a frag head and this is our hobby and this is whatever, like at the end of the day, we're still humans and we still
yeah.
have likes and dislikes and,
Mm-hmm.
things that make us happy and sad and all that kind of stuff. But this brings us, luckily, we have this to bring us together.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
So I think it's about time for our last segment
Okay.
of the show. And I'm enjoying this conversation so much that I didn't really want to end this, but I guess like we all love perfumes,
Yes, we
and I
do.
cannot wait for you to try out some of the
Oh,
fragrances.
cool.
So I have
Oh, what a
some
pretty bottle.
fragrances here.
Okay.
Some of them you might be familiar with, some of them not.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got these.
Okay.
And then, oops.
Well, that's a cool bottle.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's a pretty.
bottle.
It looks like almost like a wallet or something. Very chic, very feminine.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Okay.
wow, that looks fresh.
Right. And then I got some blotting papers for us as well.
Okay.
Okay, I think let's start from here. So I've
Okay.
got Legacy Eau de Parfum by Armaf right here. This is a pretty bottle. I accidentally broke it a bit. It's supposed to be like this, but I kind of
Oh,
broke
and
it.
the top came off. Oh,
Yeah,
bummer.
but I guess it's fine. No one will notice, I hope. Unless this podcast comes out. Like, I think I should be good until then. April should be fine with me. She's the sweetest.
Okay,
So,
Legacy.
yeah. So let's try Legacy.
Okay. Mm. That's pretty. It's
Oh, I almost forgot to tell. So if you like a fragrance, you're gonna say
Oh.
ring me up.
Okay.
And if you don't like it, you're gonna say pass. Ring me up is like
Okay.
you could go home with this.
I could go home with, okay, ring me up or pass.
Okay.
What are the notes in this one? Is there lavender in this one?
Yeah.
Lavender.
There's definitely lavender. There's white florals like
I can smell the white floral. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the musk and sandalwood base is there, light and airy.
It's light. Okay, so should I describe it too first?
Yeah,
okay.
sure.
So let's describe this one. So this is a very light, but not light like it would be a skin scent and it would wear off. It's not like that. It's light. It's definitely airy. It's fresh, but maybe a little woody. Not woody though. Not like oud.
Mm-hmm.
Like
sandalwood or
like and like just kind of like you're outside maybe walking through a meadow or something like that, right?
Kind of green.
Yeah, a little whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are my options?
Ring me up or pass. Would you go home with this scent or you'll pass?
I would probably pass on this one.
Okay.
Only because the lavender note to me comes off a little masculine for me. Now, do I think people who like the lavender note would like this? I think they would love it.
Oh, okay.
But for me, yeah, I'm trying to get that dry down. I just think for me, I would probably pass. But again, it's a beautiful fragrance. Like I don't there's nothing repulsive about it to me. I mean, it's very beautiful.
Right. Interesting that you mentioned the lavender. So people who like lavender fragrances, take note. Okay. This one's called Oud Noir. And it's by Khadlaj. And I'm going to pass this on to you. So I'm going to put this right here.
Mm. That's beautiful. It reminds me of the Arabian's Tonka, a Montal.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. It's like a creamier, it's not like tonic, but it's like a creamy oud.
Creamy oud. Yeah.
Right?
There's like something about it. It's not like the oud is like sharp.
No,
And
it's not
anything.
sharp.
It's very
I was just
smooth.
going to say that it's very smooth. It's not sharp.
Yeah. And do you pick the rose in it?
I get the rose. That's beautiful. It reminds me of the Velvet Fantasy from Montal. When you get the rose through there,
Yeah.
I would ring me up.
Ring me up.
This one
for
is
that
a
one?
ring me up. I love it. But I would say definitely wear it in the winter.
Winter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. This is one of the new ones. It's called Nefertiti by Hamidi. So this collection, it's called the Legacy Collection, and they're all named after the Egyptian pharaohs' wives.
Nice.
So one of them is like Cleopatra, one of them is like Mernith.
Mhm.
This is Nefertiti. So let's try.
It's beautiful.
Let's try this out.
And it's something I'm into. Egyptology is something I'm really interested in.
Uh-huh.
So this is good.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Oh my God, that smells good. Wow.
Wow. What do you pick in it?
Mm. It's like a fruity, creamy. Is it butterscotchy caramel?
Butterscotchy, amber, and butterscotch.
But
Yeah.
what's the fruit element? This is beautiful.
I think it's the citrus notes, like mandarins and oranges.
Mm.
It's a bit orange citrus.
This is beautiful. This is a ring me up. Look.
Ring me up.
This is a ring me up, period. I can see wearing this at any time of the year, depending if it like at nighttime in the summer or
Yeah.
daytime in the winter.
Yeah. I think it's a year-round scent as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Mhm.
It's beautiful. Buy
Mhm.
this one. This one for sure.
Okay. Perfect. And then I'm gonna
That's a good for everyone too.
Yeah.
The oud is not for everyone. This would be more for just everyone in general. Yeah.
Perfect. So we've got Robin's recommendation on Nefertiti for sure.
Yes.
Okay, this one is Lahnal Worth. Okay. And let's spray this one for Robin.
Mhm.
Okay. When I first saw this, I was like, the bottle is a little underwhelming, but
It's underwhelming, but it's still pretty. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's got the roses and stuff on it.
yeah.
Ooh, this reminds me of something. What is this supposed to smell like?
So it's supposed to have like citrus notes, like mandarin, tangerine, pineapple, bergamot.
Light blue?
Yeah. And it's got a hint of coconut. I don't know if
I
you
was going to
picked
say,
it. Coconut.
it's got some coconut in it, but it doesn't smell beachy. It smells like
Yeah.
a light blue
Yeah.
with coconut to it.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
Mm-hmm. Do you think
That's
like
beautiful. And this would be a ring it up for me too for summer.
oh right.
And like going to the beach, or for me, like maybe even daytime. That's beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Okay, I saved this one for last because it's like a widely loved fragrance. It's called Club de Nuit Intense. And I mean, I don't know. Would you like to take a guess like what it smells like? I mean,
Based on the bottle, it looks like it would have oud in it, but I don't think it's going to. By the looks of the other bottles in that one, I think
Okay.
yeah.
You think that there's oud in this?
I just by the bottle, I would
Yeah.
say so. It looks almost masculine.
Okay. Let's try this out.
This is beautiful. This smells like Delina Exclusive. 100%. It's rosy. It's beautiful. It's amazing. I love it, and I want to take it home right now. This is not for the faint of heart. Mm-hmm. This is for a true rose lover. It's beautiful.
You love this?
I love it. It's beautiful. So what? 4 out of 5? Yeah, I
Yeah,
think,
I
right? This is the only
guess
one that I personally
you
wouldn't
would
take home.
pass. Yeah.
But this 4 out of 5, that's great.
Yeah. And I did add like a surprise element. I just
Yeah.
wanted to feature
Mm.
new fragrances. Only I think
Mhm.
this one is a bit older one. So I thought like you might have
I had
smelled
never
this.
smelled that one before. No,
Yeah.
never.
Yeah, that's great. Because like you've been here so often, I
Mhm.
thought that, you might have smelled, but I
No.
tried to keep this as like latest and updated as possible. And I think we did pretty great. You liked 4.
Yeah, they're
And
beautiful.
yeah, and I think it depends on like the conversations you have with me and April at the experience center. We kind of like
Yeah.
know our
Mhm.
friends that okay, this is what Robin would probably like.
Yeah, I think so too.
So
I think so. And
yeah.
this one, now that it's drying down, this is interesting. It smells like
Mm-hmm.
it's like, you know what this smells like? Eggnog.
Oh
Like an
yeah,
eggnog.
eggnog.
Like a fall. I changed
Yeah,
my mind about this being year round. I think this is a fall
fall
fragrance.
fragrance.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So lovely to have you here,
Thank you.
Robin.
Thank you for having me. It's been
Yeah.
really fun.
Mm-hmm. Any last words you want to share with our audience? Any messages you want to give to fragrance lovers or just people in general?
Gosh, I think if you haven't gotten into fragrances because you find it intimidating, which I know that there are people who've never found what they feel is their signature fragrance. Number one, you don't have to have a signature fragrance.
Right.
You can have many
Yeah.
fragrances that you like, and you can change them for your mood, like I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think that I don't think you should find it intimidating. If you go into someplace like, for instance, Neiman's, Saks,
Mm-hmm.
Bloomingdale, something like that. Neiman's and Saks, especially because of the exclusives, is why I'm saying those, right?
Yeah.
And you sit down, a lot of times the perfume reps are there, so they're really not trying to sell anything to you anyway. They just want to get the word out there
Yeah.
because they don't have to sell. They're
Yeah.
already being paid, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's really important. And also coming someplace like this
Mm-hmm.
to Intense Oud and having this experience with you guys is the best thing for me. I didn't find it intimidating at all. It's really nice to come
Thank you
here.
so much.
Everyone's very friendly. You, April, everyone are very friendly. And I think that nobody should be intimidated by these, even if they're hearing that ouds are this, too much for people or whatever. I think at the end of the day, you will find an oud that works for you. And if you don't find an oud that works for you, you will find an Arab fragrance that definitely works for you, because they're not all oud. And I think that's
That's
something.
the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. And I think that's a fallacy too. I think
Yeah.
people think that
Yeah.
all of them have that
Mm-hmm.
oud, and they don't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, thank
that's
you
what-
so
that's the
much.
advice I would give.
And thank you so much for all your support throughout this time.
Absolutely.
And it
Absolutely.
was lovely having you
Thank
over.
you.
So this was Robin with us for yet another episode of The Intense Show. And catch you all next week with another amazing guest. Till then, yeah, I'm gonna sign off.